Welcome back, adventure seekers. This time, we're experiencing a magical morning of wildlife rescue and stolen kisses that leaves Lily torn between her polished persona and the raw, real connection she's finding with Nate. Dive deep into an ocean of longing, where the current of desire pulls you under. Chapter 8: Tides of Change. The morning sun sparkled on the ocean as Lily jogged along the beach, her bare feet sinking into the damp sand. She'd woken early, restless and unable to shake thoughts of the art gallery, of Nate's photographs, of the almost moment they'd shared. Lost in thought, she didn't notice the figure ahead until it was too late. She collided with a solid chest, strong hands steadying her before she could fall.
Whoa there.
Lily looked up, her heart skipping a beat.
Nate?
He grinned down at her, hands lingering on her arms.
We've got to stop meeting like this.
Lily laughed, stepping back and hoping he didn't notice the flush creeping up her neck.
What are you doing out here so early?
Nate gestured to the water.
Sunrise shoot. The light's perfect right now.
He paused, studying her face.
Everything okay? You seemed pretty deep in thought there.
Lily hesitated. How could she explain the turmoil of the past few days? The doubts about her career, the growing desire for something more authentic, the way her heart raced every time she saw him. Before she could respond, a shout came from down the beach. "Nate, we're losing the light, brah!" Nate glanced over his shoulder, then back at Lily.
Hey, want to join us? Could be fun to see how the other half lives.
He added with a wink. Lily bit her lip, considering. Her day was supposed to be packed with sponsored posts and calls about the resort campaign, but
You know what? Yeah, I'd love to.
the next hour passed in a blur of laughter and discovery. Lily watched in awe as Nate directed his small team, his passion evident in every instruction. He showed her how to use his camera, guiding her hands as she framed shots of the locals going about their morning routines.
See that fisherman there?
Nate murmured, his breath warm on her ear as he pointed.
Watch how the light hits his face when he smiles. That's the moment you want to capture.
Lily nodded, acutely aware of Nate's proximity. She raised the camera, waiting for the perfect moment. Click.
Got it.
She exclaimed, turning to Nate with a grin. Their faces were inches apart, and for a moment, the world seemed to stand still. The spell was broken by a sudden commotion near the water. They turned to see a group of people gathered, pointing at something in the waves. "Monk seal!" someone shouted. "It looks injured." Without hesitation, Nate sprinted towards the crowd, Lily close behind. As they reached the water's edge, they saw the seal struggling in the shallows, a fishing net tangled around its flipper.
We need to help it.
Nate said, already wading into the water. Lily kicked off her shoes, following him without a second thought. Together, they approached the distressed animal, moving slowly to avoid startling it.
Easy there, big guy.
Nate murmured soothingly.
We're here to help.
As Nate gently held the seal still, Lily worked to untangle the net. Her fingers moved deftly, years of styling intricate outfits for photos, finally put to a different use. The seal's dark eyes watched her, surprisingly calm. With a final tug, the net came free. The seal barked once, as if in thanks, before swimming off into deeper water. Cheers erupted from the beach. Lily turned to Nate, exhilarated. His eyes shone with a mixture of pride and something deeper, something that made her breath catch.
That was amazing.
He said softly.
You were amazing.
Before she could overthink it, Lily closed the distance between them. Their lips met, salt water and adrenaline mingling in a kiss that felt like coming home and embarking on a new adventure all at once. When they finally parted, both slightly breathless, Nate rested his forehead against hers.
Wow.
He whispered. Lily laughed, a sound of pure joy.
Yeah, wow.
As they waded back to shore, hand in hand, Lily's mind raced. This wasn't part of her plan. It wasn't curated or filtered or sponsored. It was messy and real and absolutely terrifying. And yet, she glanced at Nate, saw the way he beamed at her, And for a moment, she allowed herself to imagine. Mornings like this, filled with purpose and spontaneity. Evenings at local galleries, bridging their two worlds. A life where she could be both the polished influencer and the barefoot girl who saved seals. A happily ever after with a man who saw her, all of her, and liked what he saw. The fantasy was intoxicating. But as they reached the beach, reality began to creep back in. Her phone, abandoned with her shoes, blinked with missed calls and messages. The resort campaign. Her carefully cultivated image. The life she'd worked so hard to build. Nate must have sensed her hesitation. He squeezed her hand gently.
Hey, you okay?
Lily looked up at him, torn between the future she'd always thought she wanted and the possibility of something new, something real.
I don't know.
She admitted.
This is all happening so fast.
Nate nodded, understanding in his eyes.
We can take it slow, figure it out together.
As Lily opened her mouth to respond, a familiar voice cut through the air.
Lily? Oh my God, is that you?
She turned to see Marissa, a fellow influencer she'd collaborated with in the past, staring at her with wide eyes. Marissa's perfectly styled hair and flawless makeup stood in stark contrast to Lily's own disheveled, salt-water-soaked appearance.
I almost didn't recognize you.
Marissa exclaimed, her eyes darting between Lily and Nate, taking in their joined hands.
Wait till everyone sees this.
As Marissa raised her phone, no doubt to capture the moment for her millions of followers, Lily felt her two worlds colliding. The carefully constructed image she'd built and the raw, authentic experience she'd just shared, now intersecting in ways she couldn't control. In a split-second decision, Lily yanked her hand away from Nate's, taking a step back. She saw confusion and hurt flash across his face, but couldn't bring herself to meet his eyes.
Marissa, hi.
Lily said, her voice unnaturally high.
We were...
As Lily fumbled for words, caught between her instinct to protect her image and the ache in her chest from Nate's wounded expression, she realized that whatever choice she made next would change everything. The stakes had never been higher, and she had no idea what to do.